Welcome back to Just Ask George. David Wolf, affiliate banker with George Lovato Jr. He's the founder of BH Capital and the
Head Dude.
I love the way he says that.
Dude.
We're glad you're with us. This is
You are Co-Dude.
Thank you, George.
Co-Dude. You like Co-Dude?
Hey, I'll take it wherever I can get it. This segment, of course, is we're really is there money out there? Is the global title of this segment, and we're going to dig into the integration of management, specifically managing to achieve success and financing your enterprise for profitability. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about.
It's about American enterprise. And those two halves come together.
And the key here, too, is that as a merchant banking firm, we approach the process of structured finance solutions for our clients very globally and very comprehensively. It's the true integration of management and formation of capital. Mm-hmm. You have a formula. You have a method. How do you do this? How do you integrate your management experience?
Thank you for asking, but it's one way to transfer some of my knowledge capital to a client, and also it's sort of an evaluative tool at the same time. And what I try to teach people, it's the 3+3 method, or the 3+3 equals TBR, the brass ring. I run into this all the time. We get into the engagement process with a client, and I find that they didn't know they got where they got. And we don't always take on clients that are in trouble. We take on clients that are looking for new relationships, et cetera, et cetera. But there are some cases when just basic management is absent, some of the tools that you should be employing. And so I've sort of narrowed it down. In the obstacle course, we talked about the importance of people, and you've got to have the right people inside the organization assigned to the right tasks and achieving the right results. You've got to have the right people on the outside of the organization that you're doing business with, the right clients, the right customers, and you've got to have the right professionals, and you've got to have the right partners if you do have a partner in your business. It's people first. In most cases, the entrepreneur, the business person, does not evaluate that. They sort of overlook it. They take it for granted. Sometimes clients have to be fired. They're not right for you. They demand too much of you. They're too expensive. Maybe they just make you miserable, but sometimes you have to fire a client. Sometimes you have to fire employees. Maybe they're not achieving those results in the organization. Sometimes you got to fire your accountant or your lawyer.
It's internal and external.
Both.
As a manager, you have to manage
right
both
people.
The internal and external.
The right people. I'm amazed always at how many lists my wife makes on a daily basis, but she makes tons and tons and tons of lists. She's a very busy woman, and she achieves the vast majority of what's on her list, but it may change during the day. Okay. It doesn't mean that her goals or priorities have changed. We live in a dynamic environment. We work in a dynamic environment, and we have to plan accordingly. So our goals and our priorities do not change. There's a distinction with a difference. You may just be adjusting your planning for that day. So planning, again, is very important. I talk about that in the obstacle course. And I talk to you and all the other affiliates, as well as my clients, about projection, visualization. As you're planning, you have to see it in your mind. It really should be part and parcel of what you put together on a daily basis is this movie and how it's going to play out day by day, hour by hour, etc. You've got to be able to visualize that. As long as you project, you'll be surprised how that tool drives your results on a daily basis.
You talked about this with respect to sports and your experience as a younger person.
Right. And it does work in business. And I push people to use projection as a tool on a daily basis.
Yes.
Several times a day.
It's an iterative, ongoing, and dynamic. Your goals and your priorities don't change, but perhaps some of the nuances or color might be, you need to be, as a manager, able to respond to changing environments, internal and external, to the organization.
The next thing is cash flow. If you're concentrating on cash flow more than 5% of your time, Houston, we have a problem.
Right.
5%'s the maximum. Any more than that, you need a financing mechanism. Something's wrong. So that's what I tell clients, and that's an evaluative tool for me.
That is beautiful.
That if he's spending 80% of his time trying to figure out how to move money around and how to encourage the inflow to cover the outflow, and it's problematic, Houston, we got a problem. The next thing is credit. The credit your suppliers provide you should complement the credit you extend to your customers, to whatever extent that is. You've got you have a process in whatever you do, whether it's you make a widget or you provide a service. Okay, it's either or. So there are all those things that make up that ability for you to do that. Wherever those resources come from, for you to provide that product or service, there's a supply chain of some kind. Could be a pallet of paper because you use a lot of copy paper to make your little booklet that you hand out and sell for $9.95. Whatever that is, that relationship in the form of credit should complement the relationship you have with your client or your customer. End of story.
That's huge.
If it doesn't, Houston, we got a problem. I mean, it's just that simple.
This is back to the specificity of the appropriate capital applied to the business itself, right?
Another teaching tool and another evaluative tool. And the last thing, I always get a kick out of this, CFO, Chief Financial Officer.
Sure.
And the joke is can't finance opportunity if they're not really effective.
CFO.
And if you ask that question, or that issue comes up, I can't finance opportunity. If that is, can I finance?
Yeah.
And you're continually doing it, then it's a non-issue. Right. If you hear those words, can't finance opportunity, you have a problem. And really, financing opportunity and exploiting opportunity are two sides of the same coin. We have to have the time to recognize it, so we can't be distracted by having to manage the cash flow, because if we're over managing the cash flow with 85% of our time, we're probably not recognizing the next opportunity. And if we're not recognizing the opportunity, we're missing out on business.
Right.
Here it comes back to you. You need the ability to finance your opportunity, and you have to have the time to recognize it and exploit it. Boom, same coin. So if you've got the right people, you're planning on a regular basis, you're projecting on a daily basis, you're managing your cash flow 5% of the time, your credit complements, the credit from your suppliers complements the credit with your customers, and you're financing your opportunity, you're running a good business. But if any one of those elements exist, you'll never grab TBR, the brass ring. There it is.
Thank you. 4 minutes left or so. I wanted to ask you, this has come up for me in sort of my initial discussions with business owners that approach me as an affiliate banker. Talk about the relationship of equity versus credit in a balance sheet. How should a business owner think about that? I think sometimes they're going after debt facilities when there's not adequate, you've called it footing capital in a business. Can you just talk a little bit about the relationship there broadly?
Sure. Part of the evaluative process of financing opportunity, it's in people's minds that it's always debt. And debt is not always the answer. So sometimes, a banker, I remember my banker Ben Naranjo, he's no longer in the banking business because he says I drove him out of it at the ripe old age of 24. Yeah. He said, George, what you need for this business, aside from what I'm going to lend you, is you've got to add equity in. And this is going back in the 80s, that tells you how old I am. He said, and here's how you do it. Okay, in today's world, most of the commercial bankers, I know, guys, a lot of you guys are my great friends, they haven't been in business and they don't know how to form equity. Right. Sometimes it's what you need in order to create debt.
Sure.
So there is a relationship between the two.
And you look for that on the balance sheet. You look at the gestalt of the health of the balance sheet so much. I've heard you say this. So there it is.
There it is. There we have it.
It's the integration of management with capital formation. This is critical for any business owner. Managers must manage.
Managers must manage. And Hal Janine said that, and it was a book I recommended to you. It's
That's
still
right.
true today. One important thing is that I've decided after 30 years, I'm going to put this in a teaching format.
Yes.
Because it's easy to learn, people planning, projection, cash flow, credit, and can finance opportunity, ? If you've got all those things, you can grab the brass ring. I'm going to put it in a teaching format. I'm going to give everybody a free ebook. I'm going to give them my book, and da-da-da-da-da. They're going to get a bunch of free stuff. And I find, as I've told people about this, they're getting really excited about it because it's such a simple little formula. It's a simple method.
Yes.
And so we're going to make that available here very soon
That's
to
so cool.
our listening audience and our affiliates, our family of affiliates.
Absolutely.
So it's been fun.
George, it always is fun. www.bhcapitalltd.com for more information. Look at Just Ask George radio episodes there. This one was great. We'll continue. Thank you so much.
Another great show.
George Lovato Jr. I'm David Wolf. We'll see you on the rebound.
Thank you. Bye-bye.